Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the M24E2 Super Chaffee. It's a tier 6 American light tank, premium tank. It's located on the defending spawn of Karelia Assault and it's under the command of Picklefish44. Now if you've got one of these in your garage, you've been in the game at least 4 years because it's part of the well-deserved reward that Wargaming gave out to long-term players. So a lot of people have them, but not everyone plays them because basically they are the same as the standard Chaffee, except they are tier 6 instead of tier 5, which the regular Chaffee are at. It's basically a very small light tank, smallish. It's basically similar in many ways, you might say, to a T-37 in the turret size. And you can see, oh, Picklefish drove into a wall there, which kind of stopped him suddenly, but he's just taking up a spotting position here because all he needs to do is spot the enemy tanks, then make their way through the swamp and around the outside. He's only got a 75mm gun, so as in reality, you don't really want to engage the enemy if you can help it. You just really want to find them. These tanks didn't actually see service, or not the Chaffee itself, didn't see much service during the Second World War, despite the fact that they appeared in the film The Battle of the Bulge. The fact is that most of the Chafees, the M24s, turned up very late for World War II, and it was the M5 Stuarts which actually saw service. Those Chafees that did turn up were well received by the Americans, although they couldn't actually do damage against German tanks, so they were mostly used for reconnaissance. And they were very good at reconnaissance because they were able to deal with the German subsidiary armour, you might say the trucks and the emplacements, but they weren't very good when it came to taking on German tanks because they didn't have the armour. It's only 20mm thick in some places, or 25mm thick, and it's well angled, but it's not going to stand up to a 75mm round from a Panther, especially a high velocity one. So despite the fact that this thing does have a 75mm capable of 115 alpha and 120mm of penetration with standard and 155 with premium, you don't really want to engage tanks which have got better guns than you because you're going to come off worse. It does actually have quite a poor DPM, mainly down to the reload time being 4.11 seconds. So remember, an E25 can reload in just about 2 seconds, or just over 2 seconds. So yes, you can get badly DPM'd by this thing. But as a light tank, it actually does have fairly good view range. 380, sorry. 380 meters view range. So you can spot a lot of the enemy. And you can move fairly quickly as well. It's 56 kilometers an hour top speed. He spotted a couple of enemy tanks and oh, he does get a cheeky round into a Striv MS1, and I think he's going to try and outmaneuver this guy by getting behind him, except there's an Arty directly behind him as well. Just hope he doesn't get shotgun. This Striv is a whole world of trouble now. Probably not a regular Striv player, because if he was, then he would have known by now to he would have got his gun round quickly enough in time. Now he's got to deal with the S51. He's actually earned the scout medal already for spotting enough of the enemy. And yeah, that poor S51, all he can do is run away, but there's a GW Panther nearby. Two more shots to kill him. There's one. Don't ram him, because that is a heavy tank in disguise. Good. He's got the kill, now he just needs to get the GW. He's gone unspotted, so the GW doesn't know which direction he's going to come around the corner. But he does now, and in fact he is looking in the right direction already. But it looks like the GW is not loaded. Ah, now he is. And he did get hit for a substantial amount, and he's been stunned. But it looks like he's going to get this kill as well. Circle of death on the GW. One more shot to kill. Yep, got him. Vespucci's medal. There's only 4 enemy vehicles left now. And I think he's actually driving, well, he decided to drive to the north because there's more enemy that way. Oh! There is an enemy Arty in the south, and he just got hit for another 212 hit points. A very good shot by the M24 driver. Now, can he find that enemy? Oh no, that's something he doesn't want to see. It's an AT-15A. I'm not sure the AT-15A's seen him, but if he opens fire, he will be spotted. The AT-15A is, I believe, looking this way. And there's the M44. So he's pulling back to use the bush mechanic, try and hit the M44. Gets one shot in. And get another one in. He'd like a Demetrius medal, but the M44 drives into cover. Now, if he drives too far forward, that AT-15A is going to start responding. Or is he AFK? I do believe that AT-15A is AFK, and he's now starting to take Arty damage. Yeah, unfortunately, the AT-15A wasn't AFK. And he's wiped out Picklefish. But at least Picklefish managed to get a Pascucci's medal and spot a lot of the enemy. There's only two left. The M44 and that AT-15A. And it won't be long before they're gone. There they are. The M44's gone. The AT-15A is about to die. Everybody seems to be firing at him, and he's gone. So, game over. Not bad. 1,570 hit points of damage recorded. Yes, even Picklefish thought he was AFK. He just wasn't responding. But the moment he actually broke cover, yeah, the AT-15A could see him at last and did hit him. Let's have a look at the end of battle results. Here's the end of battle results, and it was an ace tanker for Picklefish44 in the Super Chaffee. In fact, you can tell that because he's got scrolls underneath, and you only get that the first time. He also got a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. He picked up a Pascucci's medal because he killed 2 Arty, the S51 and the GW Panther. Sadly, he didn't get the M44. That would have given him a Demetrius medal instead. And he also picked up a scout medal for spotting at least 9 enemy vehicles. In this one, he actually spotted 11. So going down to the swamp and going to the edge of the swamp actually proved very useful because he saw all the enemy tanks that were going up to the north to try and get around the corner. And he then went into the enemy rear, well, up on the horseshoe, and spotted the S-Striv and also the Arty. In fact, he was very lucky with the Striv driver because I think he was fairly inexperienced because he managed to get a lot of shots into the guy. Once you're behind a Striv and they can't traverse that quickly, it can be very difficult for the Striv diver to actually stop you killing them. But, well, the Striv did have the help of that S51, but I think the S51 was ignoring the Chaffee and didn't take action until, of course, it was too late. And the Striv was already dead. Let's have a look at team score. Oh, win 8, 7,885. Super Unicum standard. Let's have a look at team score. He didn't get the highest damage in the game. That went to the SU-130PM on his team with 3,942 hit points. Picked up a high caliber and a tank sniper in that game. The second highest damage was the T-77, got 2,564 hit points. And the third highest damage was the enemy Bisonte with 2,212. Picklefish picked up 1,570, which it puts him in the top 5 on his team. And actually, it's he's actually in 5th position overall on damage. When it came to kills, he's in joint 2nd place because the top scorer was the T-77 with 4 kills, 3 kills to the SU-130PM Picklefish. And when it came to base XP, he's top with 1,339, and that's mostly down to the spotting he did. 1,073 went to the SU-130PM, 920 went to the T-77. He fired 20 rounds in that game, got 17 direct hits and 16 penetrations, damage of 1,570 hit points, of which 111 were at more than 300 meters, so most of the shots were at fairly close range. 3 hits received, 1 penetration, no non-penetrations, and 2 hits by way of splash damage. Yeah, it was the Arty who were actually having a good go at him. In fact, actually, the GW Panther and the M44 both managed to get big hits on him. And you have to watch out. The armour on this vehicle is very thin, as I did indicate. It was sort of like 25 millimeters at the front, sides, and of the hull and on the turret as well on the sides and the rear. The best armor you've got on this vehicle is 31mm, and that's at the front of the turret. Yeah, so very thin armor. Don't let anything hit you if you can help it, because even HE will penetrate you, and they will do a lot of damage as a result. He spotted 11 enemy vehicles. Yeah, that was a very good decision to actually go down into the swamp and then go to the edge to spot the enemy tanks as they moved up. And as a consequence, he did allow his teammates to get good damage on the enemy and also spot enough enemy tanks so that when he went into the rear, he was able to get enough for the spotter medal. 4 enemy vehicles damaged, 3 killed, and 2,590 hit points of spotting assist. It was very useful. That's what gave him the ace tanker. 49,061 credits overall, and after repair and ammunition resupply, and yes, he did have to fire some premium ammo, 18,432 credits profit. 2,008 XP for the battle, 5,518 for mission completion, 603 for this being a premium vehicle, and 1,004 from personal reserves. Took away 9,133 experience points altogether. So the Chaffee is, well, it's a fairly good trainer tank in that sense, because it is a premium tank, which means that you are going to earn extra XP and extra credits because it's a premium tank. And it is a reward tank, which is surprising because normally wargaming gives less XP and credits for reward tanks than the ones you actually have to purchase. But is it any good? Well, the M24s were fairly lightweight, and even in the Korean War, they were up against T-34-85s, and of course they really got chewed up by those guys because of course a much bigger round was coming back at the Chafees. They were only firing a 75mm out, but got hit in return. But the war in Korea changed the moment that they actually started having the Patton tanks there instead, and therefore, and the Pershings. Then the Chaffee could do the job they were actually designed to do, which was to find the enemy and then report back and then pull out of the area before they actually had to engage anyone. And that way it was 90mm gun facing 85mm gun, because the Pershings had the 90mm, so did the Pattons. And the Chaffee could disengage from the battle and pull to the rear and only engage enemy emplacements and trucks. They didn't have to engage enemy tanks because, of course, they didn't have the armor and the gun to actually penetrate them. These tanks did see extensive service, and despite the fact that they only manufactured them for 2 years, from September 1943 to July 1945, they manufactured 4,731 of them, and a lot of Chaffees are still operating. Yes, they manufactured them so well that there's quite a few Chaffees in private hands, and they're still quite nippy. You can occasionally, you'll see people who've got their Chaffee in such a good condition that they can take them out on the road, and they only just need the rubber treads on the tracks to actually drive around like any other vehicle. But yeah, the Chaffee is actually quite a good design, but in the game, I think the Chaffee, the Super Chaffee, is rather, shall we say, in the wrong class, in the wrong tier. It's a little too underpowered for the tier it's in, and so it's going to be seeing tier 8 opponents like that Striv, and he was lucky to kill the Striv, but if he comes across another heavy tank, a premium tier 8, such as say a Barask or any of the other premiums, yeah, it's going to get wiped out very quickly. Because it just doesn't have the hit points or the firepower to actually be able to deal damage. So it's a reasonable light tank, except for the fact that really it can't take offensive action. And it was lucky for Picklefish that he was able to take offensive action in this game and get some hit points, but it was mainly because he was actually taking on opponents who really couldn't fight back, such as the Striv and the Arty. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.